Hello, everybody. Welcome back. You're watching the Kaiser Report. It's Wednesday, the 16th of April, day after tax day, and I hope you all got your taxes filed on time because the Democrat part of Congress is going to need your money because they're reforming and regrouping and thinking about forming another party. According to James Carville, if you had a chance to see his rant on where the Democrats are going and about their pronouns, it was very interesting. So if you get chance, get on to X and look that up. He's there, and he's big as life and crazy as ever. But he brought out loud some points that may be very interesting to us all, having gone through and continue to go through the nonsense that's taking place among the new Democratic Party as it is being put together by people like AOC, Bernie Sanders, and the Crockett woman, who has absolutely gone off the deep end on many, many things, which we're not going to get into because it would take me way too long to try and explain why someone would act this way while holding a congressional seat for her state of Texas, which you would think that Texas would never, ever elect anyone of this nature. But they did. They got fooled by somebody that was highly educated and decide to go ghetto when she got the seat and act like a crazy person. But this is all part of what's going on with the new Democratic Party, like Bernie Sanders and Tim Walz is out there butchering the English language one more time and ranting and raving about tariffs, which he knows nothing about, and so on and so on. And then you have AOC out there with Bernie carrying on about how she's never taken any money. Well, how did she amass the money that she has right now and continues to try and raise more money? It's not coming from grassroots people, because 78 or 9 million people in this country are pro-MAGA right now, and the election should have shown her that she's not going to get the kind of dollars that her past candidate from her party was able to put together a massive amount of money and spend it all on celebrities and the like of that. And then you have, Hakeem Jeffries, who is probably the worst individual to have looking to take over as Speaker of the House and be part of the new upcoming crazy party that is run by the people we just aforementioned, because it's almost comical to watch these people and listen to what they have to say. They learned nothing about what the American people spoke about and asked to happen in this last election, which is now taking place. And there is a little bit of a hurt going on with regard to a manipulated stock market that is not a barometer for the health of this country or the health of your 401ks or anything else. They're up and down a little bit right now, but you have to understand that it's a manipulation process that takes place on Wall Street, what they call the street. And the street says this and the street says that. It should not be an issue to you and I, as we have a master negotiator inside the White House right now doing the best he can do for us. This is the first time in a long time that we have a president sitting in the Oval Office that actually want to help you and me and the rest of the American population while having to fix a border crisis which has been taken care of. The news won't tell you, but it's now 90-some% closed, which means there's no one coming across the border that can be cajoled into voting for a Democratic Party. And this is the crux of the problem when we let in 20 million people, some of them with criminal records as long as your arm, and some that have maimed, killed, raped, and hurt our citizens while they're here in this country on a pass from Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. Never forget that, because she is going to try to rear her face again, either for running for governor of California, which it is my understanding that she's not doing very well into that bid, but we'll see where that goes. I don't believe that she's going to go away. Just like Joe Biden went away for a while. I don't know what asylum they put him in, but he reared out last night on TV, and if you got a chance to watch that, there was a barrel of laughs to be had, especially when he talked about the busload of colored kids and so on. You just can't make this up. You couldn't write a fiction book and outline these events and make anybody believe that it would take place. But it does, and it's right there in front of you on mainstream TV last night. Interesting, very interesting. But we have a little surprise for you coming back to the tariff situation at the end of this video. We'll let you in on that. It is a very good piece that I found that was put together. And we'll talk about tariffs at that point. Tariffs have been wiped away from the docket of mainstream media and legacy media by the fact that they have all jumped onto the Maryland father situation that is coming apart on all of the fake news networks. You're inundated with it. Then you have a congressperson that wants to run down to El Salvador, and he was going to negotiate the release of the Maryland man, the father of the year, that has been wrongly accused of being a gang member, even though he self-admitted being part of a gang and was afraid of the rival gangs if he went home. And his home, believe it or not, because the news media will make you think that he's a model citizen of Maryland, when in fact he's not a citizen of Maryland. He's a citizen of El Salvador, which is where he has been sent back to, and they have held him for their reasoning is once a gang member, always a gang member. So let's not believe what the media is doing right now, but be assured that to get off the tariff situation and the good that's coming out of it, because more and more countries are coming to the table to negotiate on these tariffs. We have a master that's sitting in the Oval Office right now with the ability to make this a very profitable situation for not only the USA, but for the other countries involved that can benefit from some of the goods that we do produce here, which are very few and unfortunately far between, because we let all of our manufacturing between the Bushes, the Obamas, and the Bidens leave the country under duress. They went to other countries for cheaper labor, and then now we have to import everything, including our much-needed drugs for our healthcare system, which now is being negotiated to be brought back to this country, as it should be, So our population does not have to depend on a country that would issue a pandemic across the world and cripple everyone. As a result of it, we're buying our drugs from them. This is the same organizations that send fentanyl pouring into this country through the upper border and the lower border as long as someone allowed them to. Now we have a Justice Department and a Homeland Security Department in this country for the first time that has closed the border and is watching how to cripple the cartels that are involved in getting these Chinese goods that are killing our population of young people, and in some cases older people that are getting it and not realizing that the products that they're imbibing are loaded with fentanyl and other substances that come from our friends over there in China, and it's being taken care of. And it takes time to do these things. You cannot do this in 2 days or 2 months or 6 months or 100 days. It's happening, folks. It's being taken care of. So this Maryland fake news that I don't care what channel you go on to, it's the Maryland father of 3 has been wrongly treated. Then you have Congress people coming out and saying that he's a constituent of my state. This is the state that had rapists and criminals released from courts under probation watch and thrown back into the streets to do more damage. That's Maryland right now. And these fake crap news that is being coming out and put in everyone's mind that this guy is just the father of the year and should not be held in any prison anywhere, and he needs to be brought back to the state of Maryland and just let him go and do whatever he wants because he is a father of 3. Well, take a look here.
Fake, disgusting news.
A Supreme Court order and still no action. The federal government is under pressure to explain why a wrongfully deported Maryland man remains locked up in a prison in El Salvador.
Maryland man who was mistakenly deported to El Salvador.
Nayib Bukele meeting with President Trump in the Oval Office just a short time ago today, as the president says he will not follow an order from the Supreme Court to bring home a Maryland man.
And new reaction from local leaders hours after President Trump claimed there's nothing he can do to bring the wrongly deported Maryland man home.
Next tonight, new details on the status of a Maryland man wrongly deported to a notorious prison in El Salvador.
We begin this hour with the case of a Maryland man who was mistakenly deported to El Salvador.
Maryland man.
The Maryland man. A Maryland man.
Of a Maryland man.
The Maryland man.
Wrongfully deported Maryland man.
The Maryland man.
Have no duty to return the Maryland man.
Is Kilmar Obrega Garcia, Maryland father who was mistakenly deported by the Trump administration.
I want the truth. You can't handle the truth.
On that note, the Democrat and media outrage over the deportation of Obrego Garcia, an MS-13 El Salvadorian illegal alien criminal who is hiding in Maryland, has been nothing short of despicable. Based on the sensationalism of many of the people in this room, you would think we deported a candidate for Father of the Year. That's because, unfortunately, many in this country care more about this quote-unquote Maryland father, a legal alien MS-13 gang member, than a Maryland mother and an American citizen who was brutally murdered at the hands of a different illegal alien. Of course, I am referring to Rachel Morin.
You can't triple stamp a double stamp. You can't triple stamp a double stamp, Lloyd. You can't triple stamp a double stamp. Lloyd.
Hold on, this is important. In 2019, he was ordered deported. He has a final removal order from the United States. These are things that no one disputes. Where is he from? El Salvador. Where is he a resident and citizen of? El Salvador. Is he here illegally? Yes. Does he have a deportation order? Yes. A DOJ lawyer who has since been relieved of duty, a saboteur, a Democrat, put into a filing incorrectly that this was a mistaken removal. It was not. This was the right person sent to the right place. Now, some have said, well, but he had a thing called a withholding order. So a withholding order means you've been ordered deported, but an immigration judge is saying you cannot go back to a particular country. Here's the thing. If you are a member of a foreign terrorist organization, you cannot have a withholding order. Since he's in MS-13, there is no withholding order.
Are you convinced he is still a member of MS-13? That was your original charge.
Yes. But here's the thing, Bill. Yes, but here, not only am I convinced of it, not only is El Salvador convinced of it, Bill, he's an illegal alien from El Salvador with the deportation order. So his only options in life, Bill, his only options in life are to be deported to El Salvador or to be deported to some other country. That's it. He has a deportation order. So, Bill, you tell me, what country should we deport him to? Tell me, please. Tell me.
California.
And I just wish a fraction of the media outrage that we had over deporting terrorists and deporting monsters and deporting their sympathizers from this country was spent crying over the blood that was shed of American women and children over the last 4 years, or crying over the 500,000 children that Biden trafficked into this country, or crying over the neighborhoods destroyed by gangs and drugs and fentanyl. Cemeteries are filled with tombstones from Americans that were killed by Joe Biden and Mayorkas and his administration, suffering beyond imagination. We just arrested an illegal alien who committed sex crimes against 20 children. Sex crimes against 20 children freed by a sanctuary city. So I'll reserve my sympathy and my empathy for the Americans being brutalized by these monsters, and we will not apologize for getting these monsters the hell out of our country, Bill.
My name is Jeff.
She's not coming back.
It's very interesting on the way the Democrats look at the criminal activity of illegal population of this country that was let in without vetting and without anyone watching or knowing where half of them are. The Democrats are going out of their way to protect these individuals, to sue for these individuals, to pay for their legal fees, and so on, because they will like these illegal entries into this country a whole lot better than you and I, who are citizens of this country. And they don't care. It's a vote for these people. These people are coming into a seat in Congress, and they think they're going to be there for life. And they do whatever they can to get the votes to stay there. And it's become clearly evident to all of us by now, or if not, it should be clearly evident to you, that they care more about illegal people in this country and illegal people wanting to get into this country than they do about their own constituents that voted to put them in the seat that they're in. And this has to come to a stop. And don't give me stories about the new Democratic Party is changing all this. They're just as bad as they were right before this last election with their situations of DEI and massive spending of money like drunken sailors, and they don't like the fact that it's being looked into and the causation of this is being fixed, and it's driving them out of their mind that they don't have a free hand and a free checkbook anymore to just spend your money any willy-nilly way they want on some DEA program or on getting someone elected that should not be sitting in his seat, i.e. Jasmine Crockett. No one was doing any vetting there when Texas sent her to Washington. It's unbelievable what's going on. But this constant talk from Congress, the Democratic side of Congress, along with mainstream media, trying to convince you that this guy as Father of the Year needs to be brought back and released into the streets to a home near you, there's a problem here. There's a problem that is not being addressed, and it should be. Why are the Democrats fighting so hard to keep criminal types that are not citizens in this country and give them every benefit that a citizen in this country has to go through reams of paperwork to get? And they will get it at a stroke of a pen if they're in a Democratic state. And then the Democratic side of the aisle in our Washington, D.C. will sign off on any of this stuff and then get the media to go along with them on it. There's a problem here. Do you see it? Because I see it, and we all need to start writing your congressman, start calling your congressman, and get this thing ironed out. These people that entered this country without the proper paperwork, without being vetted and looked at, should go back to where they came from and fill out the proper paperwork that is needed and show cause for why they should be here. Not just say, I need to seek asylum because a rival gang may kill me. That's the Maryland father right there. Enough said about that. We have a clip that we can show you of Holman ironing out for you about who this guy actually is. Take a look right here.
He wasn't abducted. He's a 13 member.
Really?
Classified as a that was removed from this country. So we got rid of a dangerous person, an El Salvador national, was returned to the country of El Salvador, so he's home. We removed him from the United States. The public safety, that's exactly what should have happened. And I'm just as disgusted that any congressional representative is going to run to El or his aid. No! When yesterday I read in his state, Illinois, charged with murder, was released back into the community, and not the ICE detainer wasn't honored, and ICE had to go find him in his state. In his state.
Yes, definitely.
The Murrin yesterday. Listen to the testimony and listen to the mother on Handy last night. If you're not human, then your heart wasn't broken. It's just in his state. But rather than taking care of the constituents in his state, the citizens of Illinois, in his state, he's going to run to El Salvador to protect the team. It's just disgusting.
So thank God for we have a Tom Holman on our side looking out for the American population. He's a tough guy. I wouldn't want to run up against him, and he's going to get his way, and he has the proper backing from the people in charge to do his job, get it accomplished, and get us free of the criminal element that is in this country illegally. And yes, they are illegally here. And when you do that, you become a criminal because it's a criminal act to enter a sovereign country without the proper vetting and paperwork required to become a citizen. Enough said about that. Well, let's take a look at the View. It seems that all of a sudden Whoopi Goldberg could be agreeing with Donald Trump. Is that shocking to you? Because it would be shocking to anyone that I know. But here, let's just take a look at this.
And I'm so proud of us. I really am proud of me because I never in a gazillion years thought I could do this.
Thought we wouldn't notice, but we did. some of what's happening, like, you know, they're trying to take apart the Department of Education.
Yes.
Maybe that is a good thing, because maybe it will force us to make sure that our kids actually get what they need. Maybe it'll force us to go to our state and say, listen, I want to make sure, since you're taking all this money from my taxes, I want to make sure that my kids get exactly what they need. I don't have to wait for the government to do it. We can do it. This is now in our hands. This is in our hands, and it's going to be tough.
No, 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 no. Wait. Wait.
So explain to our audience why even a trip like this one, all the trips that we take into space benefit mankind.
So it benefits humankind, and I'm going to keep correcting the mankind and the man-made and the man missions, because this is exactly what this mission is about.
Arrest Donald Trump, J.D. Vance, and the entire cabinet for treason. They swore an oath to the Constitution, and they are clearly not following it. It is time. We are here.
So, Whoopi agreeing with Trump. Wow. Let's take a look at what took up the airways yesterday afternoon and evening about the fake astronaut, fake women astronaut excursion into space for 10 minutes on a 3-minute tour of what it's like to leave the atmosphere in a rocket by Bezos.
They'd be happier someplace else.
It has been all over the programs this morning on various platforms that this could have been an entirely fake situation.
Liar.
One of the things that was pointed out is when supposedly the capsule came back and they opened the door and somebody ran out and said, no, close that. And then Bezos shows up with a wrench to let them out when they already opened the door. So that indicates to me that there's Hollywood chicanery going on here left and right with this whole thing. And then, you know, how would you feel if you were an astronaut that was stranded in space for a period of time or had made several missions into orbit and to a space station to see the likes of Katy Perry getting out and kissing the ground like she's, oh my God, it is so fake and phony that it stinks to high heaven. And there's no peril there for any of them. You know, the money that was spent on getting these cackling idiots into that capsule, and if they ever did go up, I don't know. It'll be coming out, I'm sure, before too long. But the amount of money spent on doing this to give these celebrity morons a ride so they can act like they're women astronauts could have been used for better things. Like, how about we help out the people from the hurricane victims in western North Carolina, East Tennessee, and Georgia? And how about the poor fire victims out in L.A. where their governor let all their homes burn away? But we can spend that kind of money, the millions and millions of dollars it took to give Katy Perry and her buddies there a ride so they can show off for the world. And in her case, Perry's case, she's just promoting a new thing that she's coming out with, an album or whatever, and they're getting free airtime for it. So it's a fake Hollywood promotion, and Jeff Bezos, you should be ashamed of yourself with all of the needs that are in this country right now due to weather-related problems or insurrection problems that we are witnessing every day against Tesla and the division of this country that has been promoted and continues to be pushed by the Democratic Party. You can pull off this fake crap to get yourself in the news because maybe Elon Musk got a little bit more airtime than you did for bringing back the astronauts that were stranded in space. It's not a very good situation when you have suffering people here in this country that could have used some of that money that you spent to propagate a news cycle for these idiots that got in the costumes and played the parts. It's a Hollywood production and nothing more. So don't be fooled, folks. It's crazy. It's the 3-minute tour, just like those poor people on Gilligan's Island, and they kissed the ground when they came home. You cannot write fiction as believable of what we see every day coming out of the fake news media. The Democratic Party has just gone off the cliff with the nonsense that they pull every day. And with that, we're going to take you back to the real news cycle that was fluctuating the stock market, the tariff situation, the big bad tariffs. So we're going to show you something here that's called the Pirates of the Tariffs. So take a look here and have a laugh.
Everyone calls themselves free traders, but they're all pirates. Some extort exorbitant dock fees in their ports. Some demand your blueprints. Some make you wait 6 months just to sell socks. Some take a little off the top when you offload. Others force the people working the docks to pay. Some promote hidden hands to keep other pirates away. And others stab you in the back with secret agreements with other pirates. It's all smiles at the Pirate Summit. They drink imported rum on piles of gold and talk about rules-based order. Until one pirate flipped the table. The other captains laughed at first. Then they got nervous because he wasn't apologizing. After all, free trade is never free if you are the only one paying to protect it. His buccaneer nation was paying for everyone else's treasure hunts. Yet the other pirates just kept making deals behind their back. He rolls out tariffs like cannonballs. The other pirates scream, "But this isn't how we do things."
Exactly.
Some called him a disruptor, others a necessary storm. Some said the waves would capsize the fleet, but instead, the winds shifted. Deals once thought impossible were struck. This wasn't about ego, it's about refusing to be the mark at the table anymore. This world is full of pirates, but Captain Marga just walked in.
I think finding this clip was magnificent. And it kind of sums it up if you look through and read between the lines of this film. You'll quickly see what's really going on. Do not believe Morning Joe or that jackass Kramer or any of those people on those networks that are trying to convince you tariff bad, Orange Man bad, Elon Musk bad. None of this is bad for us. It's going to put us back in grand stead around the world. And one more time, America will be the global leader and the light on the hill that they need to go to learn how to live once again. This country was founded on wars. If you look back in history, we're all taught through our birth to death about how we should act and how we should behave. But if you look back in history, this country was founded on wars. We had the Revolutionary War, the War of 1812, the Mexican Wars, and so on. A Civil War that was a divided problem between the North and the South. We have a war going on right now in this country that is divided between the Democrats and the Republicans. People are divided in the streets because we had several years that took place where people got the idea that they could live in fantasy land. It was not helped by technology when you have every person of a young age that was starting from birth to play with devices where they could text back and forth, and they rely on every bit of information that they may have outside of some of the good schools that are teaching true information. They're relying on these devices to get them through life. And that's not going to work if we have a problem where everything goes down all of a sudden because of an electromagnetic bomb even will knock everything out, or God forbid a satellite crashes and cuts off everybody. How will they communicate? We have done away with landline phones. We have relied on cell phones and laptops and iPads to run our lives on. We have an entire population of people, especially some of the people on the left, that want everything handed to them. They don't want to work for it. They don't want to leave their homes. They don't want to procreate any longer because they're not interested in it, because they can go online and get all the porn they want. And this is how they're living their lives right now. The interest in the testosterone level in our young men are not what it used to be. They're not interested in dating anymore. Why, we don't know, but I have a good idea, and I'm sure you may have too. If you're a thinking person, you've watched this happen, and we understand now that it has not been good for the population that exists right now. Will dwindle if this continues. But thank God we have a military that is back on a meritorious base, and also that they're putting pride back in being a fighting force one more time. And, of course, a young man going into the military today is a good thing because you come out with a sense of well-being and worth, and you can be taught a trade and come out of there ready to go to work as a welder or as a shipbuilder or a pilot. There's all kinds of training that will take place in the military without the DEI influences now that have been cut back on. They'll be back more of doing the specialist training that the military was well noted for all through the years, and put out some great, great people that are in my genre of society now that are still working, some into their 70s, are still putting forth a service effort into this country to keep it the country that they fought for in wars that constantly take place. The world is always at war. There's one faction or another that is never going to be happy with their neighbor, or they decide that they need more territory, or they decide that territory they lost in a previous war should go back to them. And this is what's taking place around the world right now. If you open your eyes and look, there's a lot of things going on that are not conducive to peace right now. But however, we do have someone in the White House right now that can try to bring a peaceful end to some of these wars that are taking place now and bring a solution to the problems that exist, not only here, but overseas as well. So with that, that'll be the end of today's broadcast. And once again, thank you for tuning in. We'll be back to you tomorrow, Thursday, with another Kaiser Report and some more information and maybe some more funny films or memes for you to look at. So remember, stay safe, stay strong, and stay tuned to the Kaiser Report for commentary and fun bits. And God love you. Bye-bye now.